President Trump pardoned several anti-abortion activists ahead of today's March for Life in Washington, D.C. And Trump's nominee for Defense Secretary, Pete Hegseth, is expected to be confirmed by the Senate later today. Good morning. I'm Corva Coleman from NPR News, and here are today's top stories. President Trump will view disaster relief efforts today on two sides of the country. He's traveling to Los Angeles. He's hinted this week he could withhold wildfire relief aid to California. NPR's Deepa Shivaram reports Trump will first fly to North Carolina.
Trump is headed to Asheville, which was ravaged by flooding when Hurricane Helene hit the state in September. Trump has accused Democrats of leaving the state behind. He repeatedly made a number of false statements about aid relief during the presidential election, using the crisis to score political points. The president's next stop will be L.A., where wildfire recovery will be costly. Trump appears to regard this, too, as an opportunity for political leverage. In an interview this week with Sean Hannity on Fox, Trump said Democrats wanted a lot of money for wildfire relief in California, but he wants the state to change its water policies before it gets any aid. Deepa Shivaram, NPR News, the White House.
President Trump has pardoned some anti-abortion activists who were convicted of blocking the entrances to women's clinics that perform abortions. His action comes ahead of today's March for Life by anti-abortion activists in Washington, D.C. Vice President Vance is expected to address the gathering. As NPR's Sarah McCammon reports, activists are gathering at a time when conservatives control all three branches of government.
President Trump has bragged about his role in choosing Supreme Court justices who voted to overturn Roe v. Wade. But since then, he's offered mixed messages about whether he'd support new federal restrictions, as some activists are calling for. Trump's vice president, J.D. Vance, is set to address the march in person, his first public appearance since the inauguration. Here's Vance at the Ohio March for Life in 2023.
For the millions of babies as yet unborn in this country, we are going to fight for you every step of the way. There are many steps to take it. I'll be right there walking with you.
House Speaker Mike Johnson and Senate Majority Leader John Thune are also scheduled to speak. Sarah McCammon, NPR News, Washington.
Trump administration officials say they have rounded up hundreds of migrants illegally in the U.S., and they claim they've deported more out of the country. Officials in Newark, New Jersey say agents raided a city business yesterday, but Newark's mayor says immigration agents also detained American citizens, including an American military veteran. The mayor says people are being unlawfully terrorized. The raids come as a federal judge in Seattle temporarily blocked Trump's executive order aiming to end birthright citizenship for some Americans. California Attorney General Rob Bonta noted the federal judge described Trump's actions as unconstitutional.
We expect that similar reception from courts throughout the United States. Any court that is fair, that is objective, that looks at the facts and applies the law, I believe will find the same way.
He spoke to NPR's All Things Considered. President Trump's nominee to lead the Pentagon, Pete Hegseth, is a step closer to Senate confirmation. His nomination cleared a procedural vote yesterday. The full Senate vote could happen today. NPR's Deirdre Walsh reports two Republican senators say they will vote against Hegseth.
Alaska Republican Senator Lisa Murkowski announced she could not support Hegseth, citing his lack of experience and reports about excessive drinking and other inappropriate behavior that raised questions about his character. A second GOP Senator, Susan Collins of Maine, also plans to vote no. She raised doubt about him leading the large department and his previous comments about women serving in group combat roles. Hegseth backtracked on those, but Collins says she's not convinced his position has changed. Hegseth is not expected to get any support from Democrats, but he can afford to lose as many as 3 GOP votes. Hegseth appears likely to be confirmed as Secretary of Defense, mostly along party lines. Deirdre Walsh, NPR News, the Capitol.
President Trump is calling on Saudi Arabia to lower oil prices. He claims that could help bring an end to Russia's war in Ukraine. NPR's Deepa Shivaram has more.
Trump addressed the economic forum in Switzerland with a focus on tariffs, saying that if products aren't made in America, there will be tariffs added to them. He also said he would call on Saudi Arabia to bring down the cost of oil, and that doing so would, quote, immediately end the Russia-Ukraine war. Russia, which exports a lot of oil, has been relying on the high cost of it to sustain the war. Trump also said China's Xi Jinping could help pressure Russia's Putin to end the conflict. Deepa Shivaram, NPR News, the White House.
4 Israeli female hostages are expected to be released this weekend in exchange for about 200 Palestinian prisoners. This is part of the Gaza ceasefire agreement between Israel and Hamas. The names of the hostages, including some soldiers, are expected to be released tomorrow. The record label for the late rock icon Tina Turner has released a previously lost song by the singer. NPR's Chloe Veltman reports Hot for You Baby isn't creating sparks among critics, but it's a welcome dose of nostalgia for her fans.
Hot for You Baby was originally destined for Tina Turner's blockbuster 1984 album Private Dancer, but it didn't make the cut. The song languished forgotten for roughly 40 years until Turner's record label rediscovered the master tape. Rolling Stone magazine contributing editor Anthony DeCurtis says Hot for You Baby is a bit one-dimensional, not nearly as nuanced as tracks like What's Love Got to Do with It.
But, it's got energy and it's got power and it's got excitement.
The critic says, most importantly, it makes us feel like Tina Turner, who died in 2023, is still with us. Chloe Veltman, NPR News.
The Smithsonian National Zoo in Washington, D.C. will publicly unveil 2 giant pandas today. Qingbao, a female, and Bao Li, a male, are giant pandas that are on a decade-long loan from China. And yes, fans, there's gonna be a panda cam. National Zoo officials will put up a live stream. I'm Corva Coleman, NPR News from Washington.